Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Pocket Change. We got some extra guests here today. We got Joel, my buddy that's here every time. We've got Mike. He's been here before. You guys know Mike. And below me, we've got Biscuit Butt. You got Mike, me, or Mr. Mitka.
Yeah, Mike, I'm representing right here.
Yeah, yes, he is. He's an electrician for Mike. Actually, Mike probably helped you with some electrical stuff when he was there because he seems to always jump into things like that when he goes up places. Biscuit Butt, Archie. Would you like to introduce yourself to our group?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Archie. I go by Biscuit Butt. 2 T's on Biscuit, 2 T's on Butt with all my social medias. I haven't really put out any videos in a while. I think the last one was probably about a year ago, but I am a reseller. I started about 4 years ago, pretty much when everybody else probably started, and left a career that I had for like almost 20 years. Became a reseller full time. I mainly sell on eBay. I sell on some of the local platforms too. And as far as sourcing, I source mainly from storage units and garage sales, but pretty much anywhere I can get anything. I also use the Freebie app a lot. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Well, cool. Mike, you want to say anything to anybody?
Hi, everybody. You've heard my story before, so I'll keep it short. I'm Mike Camporelli and also sell on eBay. And I didn't realize, Archie, I started about the same time you did. But a lot of us just jumped right into it when the pandemic hit. And I think I told my story here on Pocket Change last time, where for the first time I had some time on my hands and I figured I'd try it out. And a lot of people came on the platform at that point. And there was a whole glut of new sellers, but it was a great time to sell, because everyone was buying, everyone was home. And I remember like board games and puzzles and crap like that really sells books so well at that point because people had spare time also. So that's basically it for me.
All right. So we brought you guys in to tell us about the Vegas trip that, Mike, you set up. You did a meetup there. I was going to go, but I just couldn't do it because I'm in between jobs myself. I'm a full-time reseller.
He's a full-time reluctant reseller.
There you go.
Aren't we all?
Yeah,
pretty much.
I didn't have the extra cash flow to go out there. But you want to tell us how the Vegas meetup went and how you guys did in Vegas? What did you find? Anything exciting?
Yeah, sure. Archie, why don't you lead?
It all started because Mike decided that he just had to come to Vegas and spend a little time with his old buddy Biscuit Butt here. But we've probably planned this for, almost a year since we actually met up in Cincinnati. We've been planning this trip, but as it got closer to the dates of Mike coming, it was about the same time that Carrie, American Arbitrage, was actually moving from Vegas. Mike actually came up with a great idea of why don't we have a little meetup, and why don't we also make it a meetup where we surprise Carrie and Don as far as like a goodbye party or a farewell party or whatever. So we have a lot of resellers here in Vegas, some that are known out there in the reselling world and some that aren't. But we were just able to get together and put together some resources and whatnot. And we had a pretty good turnout. I think there was probably, about 15 of us? Maybe.
Yeah, I think 15 or 16.
So,
wow. Yeah, I really wish I would have won.
Yeah. Nice.
So,
yeah, let me just jump in. You can continue, but I'll just feed off of what you're saying, Archie. I've been to Vegas a number of times, and I reach out and I get connected with everybody. And little by little, I got to know the whole reseller community in Vegas, just like I do every other area that I go to. I'm going to Florida next week, meet like about 8 of my reselling friends there as well. I'll talk about that later if we get to it. And so I says, look, I know all these people. Let me just put a little meetup together. It was like informal. It wasn't charging or anything like that. It was just basically come to a restaurant and we all got together and ate. And I had met Katie and Vicky who put out the Boss Reseller remix, so I invited them. And Carrie I've known in the past, and John from Flippin' Ain't Easy, another very good friend of mine there, and Mikey Bags of Money, and Art. We invited Art of Resell, but he didn't make it. He was one guy that didn't make it, but we got an opportunity to go meet him later. And Chris, Easy Pickens, from the reseller locker room. Yeah, he came. He drove in from California to come. And it was a nice time. I wrote a song. We sang this goofy song for Carrie, and it was a nice dinner. So I love the meetups, and like Archie said, I go every March. I go every October.
Mike, why don't you go ahead and sing that for us right now?
I was thinking about it, but nah. I don't want to. I don't want to really make all the
actually. If anybody wants to see it, who was it? Trash to Cash that put it on theirs, or who, or was it Mikey?
Yeah, I saw it on Trash to Cash.
Okay, so
it seemed real dark.
Yeah, it was.
Was it a restaurant or a gentleman's club? Because as dark as it was, I was thinking maybe it was a gentleman's club.
It was the Cornish Patsy. The Cornish Pasty, not pasties.
Pasty.
Cornish Pasty. It was like a restaurant that made like all bruschettes and all of these pastry. Like,
yeah, you tell it, Mike. You tell it however you want to, Mike. It's your story.
Yeah, it was an Irish restaurant.
Yeah. Like I caught a lot of grief in Crossville. We had some antics going on over there. Jefferson and I were hanging out. I was staying with them. Archie had invited me to come, and he was supposed to come. He was part of the locker room then, and then that's when he left, and I ended up taking his place, and a great bunch of guys, and we had a lot of fun. But I took some crap because there was some partying going on. You know what I mean? The after parties. We had an after party every night. Jefferson will attest to that. He was at all of them. And it was a lot of fun. I got a little bit of a tarnished reputation for partying too much, but hey, look, I'm human.
You only live once, brother.
That's right.
Mike, there's no way you cannot beat this. I was at a thing with my wife's company one time. We all got woke up in the middle of the night to one of the people from her. We were in Marco Island, and one of the people from her company had gotten absolutely rip-roaring from the floor up, and he was out in the pool naked in the middle of the night, hotel pool, naked, singing Little Orphan Annie, the sun will come out tomorrow. So until you've partied that hard, not me, by the way, but until you've partied that hard, I don't know.
I haven't at that level, but we had a good time.
It sounds like you guys got the moon came out that night. I got to ask Jefferson, I got to ask you and Joel something. So I think you guys were the original Pocket Change, right? Because somebody else was.
Yeah.
But there was three different Pocket Change podcasts, because I remember, unfortunately, I apologize because I didn't know you guys at the time, but the first one I heard of was the one with Jimmy, Dan, and Joe. And when I went to try to find them, I came across somebody else's podcast. It was called the Pocket Change Podcast, and it had nothing to do with reselling. And I was like, this can't be it. So you guys are the OGs, though.
No. We're the original reselling Pocket Change. There are other Pocket Changes. It seemed real original, and we looked at it. We didn't see anything. And then after we started putting it out there, we realized, oh, wait a minute. There's a bank that does Pocket Change to help people save for their savings. That one's still active. And then there's some older ones. There's one, the one that's on YouTube. The reason I can't get Pocket Change on there is two guys that just hang out on a couch smoking weed or something.
That's the one I came up with.
That's the one you ran into. I'm like, and it's 3 years old. 3 years older than when we started.
They've not done anything in forever.
4 years now.
I've watched that one a little bit, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to knock it down too much, but being a financial rep myself and listening to some of their things, I'd be a little careful. Their stuff seems a little bit more of, hey, let me handle your money. Kind of like Fisher Investments right now. We want to talk to you and give you pitfalls and give you this whole brochure if you have more than $500,000 to invest. Yeah, catch that right quick. But I'm jealous of all three of you guys. I'm just going to say that I'm jealous of Mike. I'm jealous of you, Archie, especially with your Elvis poster behind you. I'm jealous of Ben's, because even though Ben's is reluctant to be full-time, I would love to be full-time. I actually love – I never thought it. I pushed Ben's and fought Ben's for, I don't know, 2 years? 2 years?
Like 2.
He kept saying, you need to do this. You need to do this. And within 22 days, I was hooked. Took 22 days of, I haven't sold nothing. And finally I sold something. It was just, uh-oh. And so now you can see my clothes rack behind me, all kinds of stuff. I quit using the screen, Mike.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'd rather look at that.
But Joel, you
see the resale.
You have a full-time job, though, too, correct?
Let's see. I have a Ben was talking about this on one of the last ones. I have a full-time job, 45 hours a week minimum, where I work for AAA. Then I am a bivocational minister. That takes about 20, 30 hours of my time a week.
Wow.
And then, of course, I have a overachiever daughter. Very proud of her, but she's into everything. and she's at the nerd school here locally where you have to be a certain echelon. She gets it all from her mama. And so, yeah, it's tough. And some days I just come home and all I can do it's enough to try to get out, just sell similar. Here's the thing. If I want to be where you guys are, I know what I got to do. And I'm going to have to start drinking more coffee in the mornings and staying up later at night. Not because you guys are partying, but because if I'm going to get where you guys are, I'm going to have to sacrifice some sleeping hours to get more things listed and get more things going. And that's just the way it works.
You got to cut out sleep. Actually, is the secret. No sleep.
Okay, you got to become a vampire.
Cut it out completely. I don't know if that'll work, but I am going to have to make those, and I've been talking about that. My eBay room's coming along great, though. It really is. Knocked out a whole wall.
The thing is, when you decide to make the leap, really consider it, because it's a different beast. It's because now everything's on your shoulders. You don't have that comfortable 9-to-5 or career that you can lean on. And that's some of the toughest things, is just having that motivation every day, because it's different when you have to wake up and actually go somewhere, punch in, make your money, as opposed to just going 10 feet down the hall when you've got everything at your disposal in your living room, that can be distractions. So that...
Yeah, like a TV with football on, Ben's.
Yeah. Hey, you got to watch football, man. I watched the Eagles win tonight.
Yeah, but it's always, you watch your team play, and then it's okay. Now I'm gonna watch the second round of games, because that's what I did today. My Chiefs played earlier this morning, and then I had
How the hell did they win? My wife's a Chiefs fan. Okay, she's a Mahomes fan. Really, she thinks he's cute, but they finally we were watching that, and I'm like, oh man, they're gonna actually lose this one, and then they blocked a freaking.
I'll tell you exactly what happened. Because this will come out tomorrow when all the, what do they call them? The Monday night quarterbacks, or what do they call them? The armchair quarterbacks. When all the haters come out tomorrow, the refs blocked it. That's exactly what they're going to say. Because it seems every week it's something the refs did.
It's good to see them do that. And if they can win 3 Super Bowls in a row and have an undefeated season, which you still got, they're at 9, so they got to win more. That'll be something that probably will never be reproduced.
Right. The only challenge is we have the Bills next week, and then I think 4 or 5 weeks from there we have the Texans. But if we can get by the Bills, I think that we have a chance of actually having an undefeated season.
Yeah. That's it. I'm glad you brought up football. He doesn't like football. He says there's a bunch of overpaid men in tights running around. But you know what? Everybody's got their thing.
I grew up playing football. I just look at it and go, now I grew up. And so I grew up, and now I've got to work. I get it; it's their job, but I'm not going to sit there and watch it. I just don't have time.
It's a good point, though. It really does take. It's another job, watching football, especially now. If you compound on top of that a fantasy team or two that you have, and it can take up some time too.
Now I will say this: I'm surprised, and I'll say this: I'm surprised that Ben's, knowing him, because we've known each other now. We talked up the other day because I'd list him as a reference because I'm actually applying for another job. And I was like, how long have we known each other? And he's like, 18 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Long time.
But what was I saying? Anyway, I was talking about, man.
Not that easy. It must have been a lie. That's all I got to say.
No, it wouldn't. But anyway, I never got into watching everything online, watching sports. But I'm surprised. And what I was going to say is I'm surprised Ben's chose eBay. Because I would have thought, with how much football the man actually watches, that he would have tried. Because I've heard you can actually make money on fantasy football teams now, and I would have figured he would have turned his hand at that. But yeah, it can be a full-time job. There are guys.
I'm not much into the statistics, man. I don't follow it that closely. I do follow my team, but you have to know every player and all that and the other for that kind of stuff. It just
as analytical as you are, I'm surprised.
I'm in 2 leagues. One of them I manage, and that's actually the one with John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. But I have the other league. I let this little 13-year-old kid that's my best friend's son, I'd let him just do it. And I'll tell you what, I've done it for this now be the 3rd year. And I've been in this league for probably 15 years, and I've barely ever won money. And since I brought him on board 3 years ago, we've actually been in the money 2 years in a row.
Wow.
So you know what?
He knows what he's doing.
I mean, it doesn't matter about statistics or anything. It really has nothing to do with any of that. You just have to be lucky picking the right players. We've just derailed this, huh? We've just gone from
I know. That's fine. We do this all the time.
Have you seen
how this podcast goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get
What
down
does it
the
sound like?
rabbit
Go
hole, and the
further.
next thing you know, we're 28 minutes in, and we're like, oh shit, we're supposed to talk about reselling. All right, what was your sale of the week?
Well, I want to hear more about the meetup coming up in Florida. Now, Archie, are you going to go to this one in Florida as well? I know Ben's is absolutely determined to go because that's his home state.
Now,
I believe
is
you're
this the
going.
one with Dave garage sale or his?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
no.
this is not really a meetup, although I might make it into one. Dave, ADH Dave, he did this. For those of you who know him, he's got this 10 by 40 container that he keeps all of his death pile and everything. He's done live auctions out of it, and he's uses it to supply his stuff, and he goes back and forth. So he decided about a month ago to have a garage sale.
Hmm.
And it was a really cool video. He covered the whole thing. It was like about an hour video. Usually his videos about a half an hour or so. And he showed the entire event. And it was like really cool. His whole family was there. His 3 kids set up tables. His mother and his aunt had a table. His wife was there. His father was there. It was a whole family affair. They were like cooking hot dogs and everything. And everything was like for $1. He was just selling stuff stupid, crazy cheap. And it was cute because what he does when he in his what's sold videos, he puts up the comps. So as he was selling stuff, he was putting up the comps. We saw one thing like for $1, a comp for $120. He was just this is how Dave's a great guy. He really is. Got a heart as big as all outdoors, and he just wanted to get rid of stuff. And he made like some really good. He invited everybody. Just the locals came, obviously, people local to Florida. And he made it like 11 o'clock to accommodate people going to yard sales before. He didn't want to cut into that action. And he just got rid of a whole bunch of crap. So I stayed pretty close in touch with Dave. And I said, man, I love that video. It was like really one of your better ones. It was so cool watching. Everyone had a good time, and the stuff that you sold. And I was getting like a little bit of FOMO. I said, I wish I was there. I said, Dave, you know what? I'm going to come to the next one. It just came out of my mouth, right? And at the time, I didn't know he was doing another one. So he planned another one for this Sunday, the 17th, coming up. So I'm going. So I'm going to go. I booked my flight. I got a hotel. I rented a car because we'd be driving around and everything. I invited Jefferson to come up. He's going to come and stay with me, and we'll go to yard sales and everything together. And we'll go to that sale on Sunday, Dave's sale. And before that, we'll go to yard sales. And then on Saturday, I wasn't aware of it, but they've just got in touch with me a few days ago. He said, look, they have that universal garage sale every year at one of the parks. And they sell all the really overly inflated souvenirs. You buy a cup, it's $80. Oh, there we go. Sale of the night.
Yeah, I just heard something.
It's always Mike.
And so he says, yeah, we're gonna that universal sale. That's 80% off. So even at 80% off, if something should be worth $10, but they charge you $100 for it, you get it for $20. All brand new Disney stuff, and he did pretty good for the last couple of years going there as well. So we're going to go there as well. So it's basically not really a set up meetup, except that he's going to draw people. Like his whole crew is there now. Carrie just moved to Florida. In fact, Carrie's living right next door to where that storage container is, so he'll be there. Kevin's going to be there. Rod, Mike, Death Pile Picker, are all going to be there. So it's going to be like I get to hang out with all of my Florida friends, just like when I was up over Archie's way, I hung out with all my Vegas friends. So not really a meetup, but you get eight resellers together in an area, and it's a meetup. And we'll hang out. We'll go to dinner. So that's cool. But if you want to come, Joel, I know it's like what is about five hours from you. I asked Jefferson. I'm always plotting to get Joel to come to all these things.
Orlando, because it's like what 10 hours to you, Ben's for me.
9.
Yeah, but it's in between.
Yeah, so it's 3 hours away from me. That's only 7.
Palm Coast. I fly into Daytona, about 40 miles south of Palm Coast. It's going to be in Burrell, Florida, in a suburb of Palm Coast.
Probably still around 10 hours from me. Now, I probably won't be there this time, Mike.
That's all right. We're going to plan one out this year. We're all going to go to where Joel.
Yeah, we're going to North Carolina. Yeah, we're going to come see you.
Okay.
If we can't bring the mountain to Joel.
Yeah, there's a sale there. We got to figure out when that is.
There is. There's like a big sale now. It runs. Where is it? It's not right near me, but it runs like in where I used to live, like Johnston County, all the way down through. It's one whole highway. It's like what was the 127 or whatever that you guys went to? Yeah, it's supposed to be huge. Runs through Dunn, North Carolina. So I'd love to go. That's old stomping ground. Archie should come too.
Yeah, we'll corral him too, but I'm definitely going to come.
We'll look at that. We're gonna get a. I was looking, and the Airbnbs in that area, like you could get a big, huge place for $500 for the week.
Oh,
Yeah, for nothing.
Nice.
For next to nothing. So I will probably work that out. If I get a job and I got a little extra cash, definitely will get that and then invite whoever wants to come.
We just want you to. We don't necessarily need you to have a job, Vince. What we want to see is you get up there where you're making enough money to where you don't have to get a job.
Yeah, so I've been applying and getting. So if I don't have a job by the time I get back from hanging out with Mike, I'm going to go to Starbucks and get me a part-time job. Because the thing I'm concerned with is health insurance. I'm not really concerned with making a lot of money at this point. I can probably maintain myself up until retirement with what I'm making on eBay. But excuse me, the issue is health insurance. If I go through my wife's work where she works, I'm an extra $500 a check, which takes her check down a good chunk. And then, but I heard from somebody else I know that works at Starbucks, their insurance is completely free if you work part-time. So if you work 20 hours a week, you get free health insurance. Plus, I think you get a pound of coffee a month and all the coffee you can drink in there. And I love coffee.
The perks.
I just love the drink. Yeah. Perks.
Maybe that's what we should do. We should all we should be full-time resellers, work at Starbucks part-time to get our benefits.
There you go. Good bennies.
They got great benefits. And I think you get tips. Yeah. And now you can shame people into giving you tips. That happened to me the other night. We won't go into that here, but that's on the...
He fussed about that for 15 minutes.
I went and bought a pizza, and I tried to pay with a $100 bill, and the lady goes, "Oh, we can't take $100 bills." So I pull out my change. I have $27, and it's like $35. And she's like, "We don't have enough cash there to pay for it, but you can go ahead and leave your tip in cash." I'm picking this pizza up. What are you talking about? Now, if she wouldn't have said anything, when she turned that thing around, I'd have felt obligated to give her 10%. But the fact that she brought it up, I said, "What exactly am I tipping you for?" And she said, "Most people do." I said, "Most places take $100 bills." Guess we're shit out of luck.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, tipping's getting outrageous now. You go to get your oil change, you want a tip now. It's like everything.
Yeah, it's like everything gets a tip.
We should ask for tipping as resellers.
Exactly.
Novel idea. Actually, I like that.
Yeah, when you send your...
Actually, we do. Have you guys ever sold on Whatnot?
Oh, no, you're right.
Oh, yeah, you get tips. In there.
Tell me about Whatnot.
So Mike and I actually... This all kind of wraps into Mike coming down here, but one of the reasons he also, or I should say one of the things that we planned on doing was to actually try Whatnot. I had done it already. I did it almost 2 years ago, but it's different now. But we wanted to both dip our toes into it again. And so we went ahead and did it. And Mike, I don't know, how much did you get in tips? I think you got 20 some bucks.
No, so let me see. Ken gave me 5. Keith Prosser gave me 5, 10. I think I made about 12 or 15 bucks. Half of what I sold. I sold 30 bucks stuff for the whole time. But as I was telling Jefferson backstage before, I didn't do it really to make money. And I had no stock. We went and bought stuff just to sell. I didn't know what to even get. I just wanted to, like Archie says, dip my foot in the pool. I got on board about 3 years ago on Whatnot. But for those of you who know me, like I've been going through this drastic transformation over the last 3 or 4 months. I just could not go behind the camera. I hesitated to do Whatnot for that reason. I wanted to do it. It looked appealing. I was all set to go. I was all, qualified to go on, but I never pulled the trigger because I was pretty scared to be in front of the camera. So once I've got my newfound confidence, basically from coming on this podcast the first time, it was a series of things. Now I'm like, they can't keep me away from the camera. Archie and I, we got an invite while we were in Vegas to do our Roman show. I said, yeah, come on, let's do it. So we did an hour live with Roman. That was fun. And I've been on the Locker Room a couple of times, and I've been on John Flippin' and Easy's show, and I love it. I tell you, I always knew I would love it, but I just, like I said, I was just...
I don't understand why you haven't been on Trash to Cash yet.
Well, Dave, I think, alluded to that at one point.
Yeah.
I like when I did the meetup in Vegas, and part of it was the Carrie surprise party. And Archie doesn't like to claim any of the credit. The kernel of the idea really, he brought it up, and then I went along. He said, "Look, Carrie's going to be going away. Why don't we do a little surprise gig for him?" I said, "That's a great idea." And then I took the ball and ran with it. I called up Dave, "What's Carrie's favorite cake?" And I got a cake. And I wrote the song and everything, and I got everyone there a half hour early and did all of that. So it was like a lot of fun. But Archie was really instrumental in coming up with that idea.
You did all the work.
But, it's just no big
Man,
deal.
I live here in Vegas, and I should have been doing a brunt of it. You did it all.
Nah, but it was my gig. So as Archie said, that they showed the video on Trash to Cash, and Dave made this whole big deal about Mike's like the king of meetups. We're going to make him do all our meetups and everything. Mike, what did he say? Mike, the Mike Camp meetup or something. It was funny. Dave's got a great sense of humor, and he says, "Yeah, we're gonna let you handle all our meetups. We'll step back and just be like the host, but you can do all the work." I say, "Yeah, fine. I like doing it, so I might as well." So I go to all of them. I even go to the ones that aren't there. I make my own up. So
you know what?
I'm still waiting to hear the song. I want to hear this song. It used to be in music a little bit. I want to know that
it was a good song.
Hear this song we got.
It really was. It was beautifully written.
So it's on the Trash to Cash podcast.
Well, yeah, like the video was like Jefferson said, it was very dark, and the audio was garbled, and it really didn't do justice. You couldn't hear all the verses, but it was funny. If Carrie, it was all like inside jokes. Like one of the verses was like, the song was basically sung to, for He's a Jolly Good Fellow. So it started off with they're two jolly resellers, they're two jolly resellers, they're two jolly resellers, and nobody can deny. So the first line was, he sells dollar cards with a passion. I don't remember all the words, but I have to pull it out. I don't remember.
Just reach over in the next screen there beside Archie and grab it. It looks like a Gibson right there. It should just be GC&D right there.
So, like in essence, the first verse, he sells dollar cards with a passion. They make fun of him without compassion. But who's laughing now? So if Carrie, he's known for selling dollar cards, right? But he just sold like this card that he pulled out of he broke a pack, and he's got it sold like for $30,000.
Yeah.
It's like, who's laughing now? So who's laughing now? Who's laughing now? So that was funny.
That's what you've been wanting to do. That's what Ben's been wanting to do. Ben's wanting to been breaking packs or whatever. He's been wanting to get some packs to break.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of like non-sports cards. I've been buying every non-sports card I run across.
Well, then,
and I got 150 packs. I need to do a video where get all excited about what's the best card in a 1984 GI Joe card set. It would take a little bit of. I got time. I haven't done yet, but I like watching those pack breaks. But I definitely like. I'm not much into sports cards.
Well, that's the thing. Like they're inundated. Like right now, if you go on TikTok or even YouTube, it seems like everybody's doing sports breaks. But the non-sports, that's actually what I'm into. I think our buddy. Have you guys ever met Shane Soda City Flips?
Yeah, I know Shane.
So he just started a channel and he does no sports at all, and it's all non-sports. And I got to tell you, man, those are what have been interesting me lately, is watching some of those. They just did like a garbage pail break the other night live. Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I bought all the stuff to do it like a year ago, and I just never got around to it. But I need to. I have a YouTube channel, and I put this podcast on there, and then I do other videos, like 2 or 3 a week, just like small.
Don't follow his at all unless you want 3 a.m. Ding. Ben's just.
I do put out a lot of videos. Actually, I have 40 subscribers and 90 videos, so I'm not doing very well, but I'm having fun doing it.
Actually, some of the Thrifty Treasures have been cool. I've watched some of them, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. Yeah, we still do this now. You did finally. I've been talking too much. Ben, you did finally erase the first 2 we did on here, didn't you?
Those are gone. That was horrible.
God, those guys.
A month or so before we actually started the audio podcast, we're like, we're going to do a video podcast with no idea of what we're doing, and it was just atrocious. We were doing it on Skype, and then I was trying to edit it with some crappy editing program. I've gotten better at my editing, but I use Descript. I don't know if you ever do any editing. I like it because in my job, I write a lot of SOPs, a lot of documentation. So it basically takes all these words and turns them into a document. And then I just go through and edit the document the way I would edit a document, and that's what edits a video. So I don't know that it does the greatest job of editing video, but it works with my mind. That's why I like it.
And what a beautiful one it is.
See, you guys.
It's not mine. There's problems there,
man. Have to keep those videos up, though.
I'd won 50 years ago.
You have to put those videos back up because, believe it or not, when you guys start getting your millions and millions of followers, they're going to want to go back and see those, those
Oh, they're not. I just hit them. Once we get famous, then I'll share our patheticness. But for now, it's pathetic. It's what it was just hard.
Oh, the best one should be the outtakes. The best one should be the outtakes. Mike, bless your heart. We appreciate you coming on so much, and Archie, you too. But Mike came on. He was our very first guest. And when he came on, though, I would tell you, it has been interesting. I can't imagine if it was actually a roll of film, the hours and hours that Benz has had to cut off of our podcast, where we'll be on a roll, rambling on something or another, and it's like
we get down these rabbit holes. We're like, oh yeah, we have the best intentions. It's the same thing.
Let's just switch gears. What are we talking about? All right,
hey, so what's your sale of the week? Let's do sale of the week. Anybody got a sale of the week?
Yeah, let me pull mine up. I have a couple of good ones. I had. Could I just speak towards one thing that back to the?
Well,
back
keep
to
talking.
The,
I was trying to get us off that subject matter.
Yeah, back to the Vegas trip. I was very happy, and Archie will attest to that. To my results. Now, typically, I was gone for 15 days. So I usually don't put my store on time away, but sometimes I do, and then I modify the handling time. But this time I went legit. I put it on time away. And usually you get a sale every couple of days. You're happy with that. But I crushed it, man. What did I end up doing? Like 40 sales?
I don't know.
Over the course of the two
I heard
weeks, yeah.
100
I did 30. Yeah, 35. I did 35 to the point I got on the plane.
Wow.
And by the time I got home, there was like another 5 sales. And this is a reselling topic, so that's why I'm taking a little tangent here. I learned something. Since I was going to go away for such a long time, I made some preparations. And the reason why I think I was so successful was a number of reasons. I brought a draft bank. Typically, I'll have two or three items in my draft bank when I'm away, and then I'll catch as catch can, whatever I can do. But I had 30 items that I built up in preparation for the store. So I was going to launch like 2 a day. Now, I got a little impatient. When I got that many in my draft bank, Archie makes a point about the electronic draft bank and said, put the shit up. So in the first 5 or 6 days, I had exhausted my draft bank. I got 30 items up in those 5 days. Also, we hit the ground running. The first day I was in Vegas, we went to the bins. We went the first day, right, Archie? We went to the Goodwill bins, and I got a bunch of stuff. So I was able to, because I had time, because I was there for so long, and there was a little bit of downtime every day. I listed about 20 fresh items from Vegas, so I put those up. Plus, and I made this comment, I don't know if you read it, Joel, in the last podcast, about you had said, Mike, don't jump on me for ending and selling similar. No, I don't. I do that. I use that as an integral. If I do nothing else when I'm away, I at least do that. I'll end and sell similar, like 10 to 15 items a day, because at least you're doing something. And then the fourth thing that really brought it home to me was that now it's 5 days till I'm going home. And John Miller made a good suggestion. He said, look, turn your store back on, put the handling time 5 days. And I wanted to do that also. I agree with him, because you know how you always get send offers every day? Now, I never let a send offer go more than an hour. Every time I go on my phone, I look at my phone. If there's send offers, I send them. Because with send offers, like a lot of them, if you respond to them even a half or an hour later, that guy's gone. So I try to act on the sense and then sell similar right away. I never go, there's never more than 2 or 3 send offers that eBay lets me know, because I address them all. Now, because I was on time away, you cannot send offers, and auctions are 2 instances where your time away doesn't come into effect. So I had to like bite my lip and not send offers for these 2 weeks. And I had built up like 130 send offers over like those first 10 days. But I couldn't do anything with them. I just had to ignore them. So that was gnawing at me, because that's something that I really, as I said before, I like to do. So 5 days before I was ready to go home, I turned my store back on. I put 5-day handling time. And now, like after I turned the store back on, in the next 2 hours, I sent out all of those send offers. Now, a lot of them were like a week and a half old. I wasn't expecting to get a play. But I took a tremendous jump, head start in coming back. So like I said, I had sold like 35 items while I was actually in Vegas. Then I shut my phone off on the plane. I 5-hour ride. I turned my phone on. I had 6 more sales, and I ended up selling like 40 items over the course of that 2 weeks, which is a little less than what I would usually do if I was home. But I was very happy, and my actual take home was like about maybe 80% of what I would make as well. I mean, I could do like $2,000 in my check.
There you go.
So wait a minute. So you did go on vacation, but what you did was before you came back, you turned it back on and put 5-day handling so that
Right.
it wouldn't ding you for the shipping, and also
Right.
notify them that it's 5-day
Right.
handling. Wow, we hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah. And by the way, just for clarity,
Yeah.
I did, of course, leave my store on. You can go time away, you can shut your store down, or time away puts that banner at the top of all your sales. Seller is away in red, and I hate that. That's why I'd rather extend the handling time. But I didn't want to do it for 15-day handling time.
Right.
Just time away, and that was it. So when I got close and it was only 5 days away, I then just was able to just open the store up, even though I was in Vegas for another half a week, and extend the handling time. So now I could do those offers. I could send those offers.
Really here's what Mike's not telling you is it took him a week to have to ship all those items, so he had to put it in timeout again for a week.
No, I did an all-nighter the day I got home. I had all those items to ship, and some were and I added an extra day in my handling so that all those new sales, those 5 or 6 new sales, was for the next day. Yes, I just wanted to point that up because that's a reselling tip and topic.
Yeah, and that's good.
I'm really happy with my results. When I go away, it's like whatever I can get, I'm happy with. But I was really very, very satisfied with my store's performance when I was away. And now I know how to really handle it because there was always that debate for me, time away, adjust the handling time, what to do. But that was a good recipe for me. Go do it the whole 2 weeks, whatever you're away, time away, leave your store open, and then just before you come back, you turn the store back on because everything takes 2 or 3 days for eBay to wake up to whatever you're doing. So I don't know if you guys are probably ready. Then I'll give you my sale of the week. Unless you want to wait for me, I gotta find it.
So I mean, I've never had 4 people on here, so I don't know if anybody's getting a little garbled with the audio, but I am. But it's recording locally, so it should all work out. So I see you figured it out. Like when someone freezes, you just nod, and then it all works the way through. So it works out.
When we do that now, what we have to do is if Ben freezes, you have to do the night at what was the name of that movie where you're
Roxbury.
Yeah, Night at the Roxbury.
Night at the Roxbury.
Yeah. He's frozen.
Baby, don't hurt me.
I have a question while Mike's looking for his sale of the week because Archie. So I know that, and I try to write down a lot of stuff. And you gave me a tip earlier, and I wrote down the tip Mike just gave because I'm trying to hone my craft, get better. Are you an everything seller or are you a niche seller?
Yes, no, everything. But I would love to be able to niche down to like media only because it's just easier to store, easier to list, and there are some nuggets out there when it comes to DVDs, CDs, books, and things like that. But right now, I just sell everything, and I'm not afraid to sell big electronics either. I'm sure as I get older, I'm not going to want to be shipping bigger items, and I'll probably start niching down a little bit to some of the, like I say, eventually I'd love to just get the media. I mean, I see people that do clothes niches, and there's just no way I could ever do that. It's just boring to me. I mean, I have to sell stuff that I love.
I hate clothes, but they were dropped off at my door, and so that's how I got that whole rack there. And I got a bunch more that's not even on that rack, not even listed yet. But I'm not going to turn away. I am not going to turn away free stuff.
Yeah.
But I've learned more about women's clothes than I ever cared.
I've been buying artwork. Yeah. I've been buying artwork at every sale and buying big artwork and different size artwork. And I was only shipping the small stuff because it was easier. But when I redid the whole garage, I got these racks, which I put up on the top where I can put the artwork. So I can get 38 by 42 inch artwork up there just as easy as a 24 by 10. So I'm like, I'm going to sell this artwork. So I started listing bigger artwork. And then I sold a piece. And then the guy sent me a note. He's like, hey, the shipping's insane. So it was 36 by 40. And to ship it from here to Duluth, Minnesota, or Duluth, wherever that is, the shipping was $114. Now, my cost was $70, so I made him a deal. You pay me what I want for it, you pay the $70. But I'm now thinking, Yeah, I think that 36 by 24. After that, it just gets completely out of whack. Even though I have artwork bigger than that, I think I'm going to shrink it down
Well, who are you
because
shipping through?
if you're selling something that's only worth $60 and it's $100 a ship, that was through all of them. I checked it all. I did pirate ship. I did. Yeah, that ended up UPS was the cheapest over FedEx. Trying to ship that same artwork through UPS, USPS Ground Advantage was like
Oh yeah,
$247.
yeah.
I'm like,
You
holy
don't
crap!
even look at US.
UPS usually seems to be the best. Yeah, I had all the three options on there, but the best one was like for him, $124. So I said, pay me 125. I'll throw the shipping in. 55 for this, 70 for the shipping. He bought it. He got it. He likes the artwork, but I do think, from my own perspective, it's probably I don't mind doing that and selling it and not making any money on the shipping. That doesn't matter to me. But still, $70 to ship a $55 poster print of the first golf place in Scotland. Most people aren't going to do that. I would just buy it rolled up and then mat it myself. So I think I'm going to shrink that down. I have 24 by 36 boxes. If it doesn't fit in that, I'm not going to ship it anymore because that makes it come down. It's once you get over 30 inches in both directions, it just seems to go out of control. So
Ripples, yeah.
that's my
What's
worth.
your sell of the week there,
Penny and a
Mike?
half. All right, Mike, what do you got? What's your sale of the
All
week,
right.
Mike?
I started the week off with a bang. On Monday, I made two $900 sales within 20 minutes of each other.
Wow.
And they were both zero buy cost. Let me show you, and then I'll talk about them a little bit. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this one?
Zero buy cut.
All right, so that's the first one, $900.
I can take the glass off. Okay,
And the second
nice.
one actually was like a multiple sale. It was actually more than 900 because the first order was 800 something, and then part of that order,
Nice.
well, next to it was another 187. So that second sale was actually over 1,000. Now I had mentioned on the show last. Yeah, I know it's crazy.
Where do I find these items at?
No, well, I'm going to tell you, like I said, and you know what? I've been blessed. I've had some good luck with my eBay, but I don't puff myself up and say I'm the greatest reseller. These things happen, and it's just I make some good connections, whatever. That first item, that $900, I call it a black box because I don't even know what it is. Some kind of processor, high-end processor, was I received from one of my partners that's been in my store that they give me this stuff for free, and I list it, and then when we sell it, we split it. So that item, 900, my net is like 60%. So it's five or $600, and then I split. You know what? I give my partner
Nice.
half, and then I get the half. So that's how that one worked. The second one was, and I picked one out to show you. This also was. These are called high plugs. They're little termination devices that you put on the end of wires, and this was free also because this was something that I purchased for a job, I think back in the 70s or 80s. I don't remember exactly what it was, where I had a job to go into a 27th floor high rise, 10 apartments on each floor, and just go into every apartment and take all the wires out of all of their panels and press these things on and then go down in the distribution and put them on. It was like about a 2 or 3 month job. And I had to buy all of these devices, all these little parts. And when you got a job that's like that and it's big, you take a rough estimate of what you need for the job, and then you buy extra.
Right.
And you charge the customer for the total thing. In fact, there was this one, and I got to really find it. It's called a high press that costs like $700 to press these things on, and that was worked into the price of the job. And I can sell. Who knows? God knows what that costs now, because these things were like $3 or $4 back in the 70s when I bought them. I remember these were the small ones because they had bigger ones as well.
Right.
And I ended up having like about, I don't know, I on this order I sold like 100 of them, and I got $12 a piece for them. Now again, these were paid for 30 years ago, just sitting in my basement, not in my basement, in my garage, in my shop, where all my electrical stuff is. And I put it on. That was one of the first things I put up. So these have been up for 3 years, but I've been selling them off little by little. But again, like zero buy course because I never throw anything out. And people had kidded me my whole life, you don't throw anything out. But now it's who's got the last laugh because I'm selling all this stuff.
Right.
That was like $1,000 worth of these little pieces in 3 separate orders, put them all together. And the funny thing is, it was free shipping, but they're so small that I put the whole $1,000 order in a box. It cost me like $8. Grabbed advantage because it was like ended up being like about 3 or 4 pounds. So that's my two. And I cheated. I know sale of the week, but they came so close to each other. It was so funny. I got the one, I couldn't believe it, and then 20 minutes later, I got the second. Yeah. So that was my sale of the week.
Who could compare?
It makes my sale of the week look like I only had $800 in sales this week. I also have been not listing, but I did sell a pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses that I got at a yard sale for. Guy had 3 pair. I paid $5 a piece for them, and I sold it for $85.
That's a good flip.
Yeah, so paid $5, sold it for $85. You know,
Golf clap.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Joe, what was your sale of the week?
No, go ahead, Archie. I'm not even gonna mention it.
I mean, I don't even.
Okay, Archie.
I don't even think ours together, the 3 of us, will even get close to Mike's.
So, yeah.
Oh, I know. I can't tip y'all over.
And you're right. When you heard the cha-ching, you knew it was Mike. Every time I'm hanging out with Mike, cha-ching.
Exactly.
I wanted him to rub off on me.
That sale was
half of what he sells.
To bring it down to earth, that sale that I made during the show was $17 softballs. And again, I don't want anyone to think that this is what I do all the time. I got lucky, and twice in a row it was coincidental.
Yeah.
But that $85 sale you made for those Ray-Bans, that's what we're looking for. That's basically what we do. And again, I got lucky. I had not one but 2 really good sales.
I'll take lucky. I'll take lucky over experience any day when it comes to poker and making money. Any day.
Yeah, sure.
But mine is actually, this was an item that I found with you, Mike. I don't know if you remember. I picked it up for $10, but it was a Verizon business desk phone, and it had a touchscreen on it. And I got it for $10. The lady wanted 20 originally, and I was just like, "Would you take 10?" And she's like, "Yeah," but I sold it for $110, and it sold. I think I sold it.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I didn't list it while you were here, Mike. I listed it, and I think within 48 hours it sold. So that's my.
That means you sold it too cheap.
No, I don't ever. No,
I have learned.
I'm going to disagree with you on this. I say once you sell it, you don't think about it again, because why do you want to beat your head against the wall thinking that you sold it too cheap? How too cheap did I sell it? Could I have made an extra $10? Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe that extra $10 that I would have.
No, if you got what you wanted for it.
Right. But here's my way of thinking is, let's say that instead of putting 110 on it, I put 120, and it now takes me 2 weeks to sell. Now that 110 that I just made, I'm going to be able to flip that again within a week. And now I'm going to make 220 when I still haven't even made the 120 yet. That's the way I think about it. But with that said too, if somebody else wants to do it differently, they're not wrong. I just choose to, if I'm paying $10 for it and I'm already 10xing my money, I don't care what I sell it for. I just want to sell things as quickly as possible so I can turn that money into more money. That's the way I look at it.
So that's my biggest thing is sourcing. Yeah, I'm trying to find items I can make 10 times my money on. I got into a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, I started niching down a little bit to pocket watches. I really love pocket watches. Bought a butt ton of them, and I've made a little bit of money. But what I have noticed with pocket watches is, unless you have $200-300 to invest in single pocket watches, I'm talking about source wholesale, it's a $200 watch. My average selling a pocket watch is about $7 or $8. My average profit's like $7-8. That's what I'm getting. Now, I've got a bunch of them. I've sold a bunch of them. Love it. Know a lot about them. Very interested in them. But I've learned that unless you're going to start buying wholesale at $200 and $300 per watch, so that you can get the $1,000 to $2,000 watches that sell like that, you're not going to make more than making $4 or $5 a watch is awesome. So I'm trying to go, what else can I start adding? And the reason I asked you a question about everything is because I'm noticing that most people who have been able to Ben's just left. We may have to wind it down here in a minute, but I've noticed that the guys who are really full-time and I set up and take listen are everything sellers. They're not the niche sellers. The niche sellers tend to still be like me. They still be working a regular job and they're selling a niche because they can make some extra money and they really like that niche. You know, yeah, you left, dude. Did you mean to
Welcome
leave?
back.
I
We
didn't mean
talked
to
about you.
leave, but it seems like I'm still here. But my whole PC just bogged down. It's back, and it seems to be all right. So
We may be out of luck. That may be the end of the podcast, guys.
no, I don't think so because it didn't do what it normally does,
I hope
but
not.
it might be.
This has been an awesome
Um,
one. We haven't followed our normal format,
yeah, my
but
PC got completely bogged down. I need a better PC if I'm going to host 4 people, apparently. But now I can actually hear you guys. Were you guys garbled when you were talking, or was that just on my end?
No, we sounded great. You sounded great. Everyone sounded good.
Okay.
what I was saying was this. We haven't really followed our regular format, but this has been great because for me, I've learned every time I'm around guys like you two, and I pick up things from Ben's here and there, but I pretty much learned. I've picked Ben's brain so much, he doesn't really have anything else to give me except when he comes back from meeting things like you guys. When you guys are around, I'm picking up little tidbits and trying to get better because I do want to become full time. I know exactly what you were talking about earlier, Archie, about making that change from the day to five. In fact, when Ben's met me, I was 100% commissionable. I worked in financial services, 100% commission, and I loved it. But as I got older, I don't know, I've gotten a little bit more timid. And so now I work in a job where I don't make as much commission. I make bonuses and I get a paycheck. And my big hang up here lately has been I've been offered some other jobs, but I'm like, I'm scared of them because I'm a little timid now. And so I want to make sure when I go full time that in reselling that I have my items up, I have my pay up. And so when I hear you guys talking about turning $10 into 110, and Mike talking about that, and Ben talks about it all the time. I won't buy anything. And I'll buy anything for $1, but after $1, it's got to make me 10 times its money. And I'm like, I would love to get there. Apparently I'm sourcing wrong things. Of course, I got clothes for crying out loud, but I'm gonna keep them because it didn't cost me anything except space.
Well,
So
Joel, if I could add something though, and this kind of circles back around because
absolutely,
it seems like the first part of the theme of the podcast was talking about meetups. And if that's one piece of
Yeah.
advice that I can give you, because I'm assuming you haven't been to any meetup yet at all. Here's my opinion on meetups is when you're in this reselling business, you're in your house, you're your own coworker pretty much. You're not at a 9 to 5 where you have people that you can converse with. You have to make other resellers like you guys our coworkers. When I'm starting to feel like I just don't have the energy to do this, I have to reach out to Mike. I have to reach out to somebody else, and they're able to lift me back up. But the most important thing is going out and actually networking and meeting these people face to face. And now you have you have much more resources of people that you can reach out to. Like you mentioned Rod picking and punching earlier. That guy knows so much about a lot of stuff, but I felt valued one day because known as the sewing machine guy. And he reached out to me one day asking me about a sewing machine. But the point is, these meetups, it's just a way to mentally just keep your head in the game. But meeting everybody, it's invaluable the resources that you can get just from who you meet and just making those connections.
I can imagine.
So do as many meetups as you
I
can.
really am. Learning from each other is probably the best thing. Here, I kept commenting when we first started doing this. I was like, I was reading because I like to read a lot on stuff before I do it. And I was reading, I was like, the average takes the average reseller 90 to 120 days to make their first sell. And all I did was do exactly what Ben's told me to do. And I sold in 22 days. And I thought that was awesome that our normal average is 90 to 120. So you're talking 3 to 4 months of listing every day, doing it until you get that first sale. And I'm like, that's incredibly slow. But the more that I listen to what you guys talk about and doing things like, I never would have guessed going on vacation. I would have just thrown my store on vacation and been like, I'll turn it back on when I get back. I would have never gone, oh, I'm going away for 7 days. Let me wait in 2 days and then turn it back on, but do a 5 day handling because we've already discovered that when you go on vacation, it can hurt your sales. It
Yeah.
can. Which, if you're full time, this is your job. And fortunately, eBay doesn't give PTO. So
Yeah.
if you're not making money, you're losing.
Yeah, they definitely throttle your account when you go on vacation mode, and I think that's important. What Mike did when he just brought it back to life by giving it that 5-day grace period, but shoot, Mike was still even selling during those 5 days.
That's Mike.
Yeah, but
if I could step in for a second, just make one suggestion to you, Joel. I understand your situation. I know what you're dealing with and your limitations. You have the PTO and getting away and all. But there's nothing to say you can't do local meetups. I came up with an idea today. I think I may process it and starting my own Facebook group, Yonkers Local Resellers. Because there's a lot of resellers in your area. I run into the same 8 to 10 people in the garage sales all the time. I'm friendly with 4 or 5 people. Why not combine your forces with these people, get to know them? This way you have friends who are experts in the area. You could like reseller to reseller, arbitrage, you sell things to each other. And like eBay even supports this. You can go on the eBay site and find all the local resellers and reach out to them. So that doesn't mean that you have to like take off and go on the other side of the world to have a meetup. You can just take a little bit of effort and just go out to lunch with a couple of these guys or girls.
And Mike, you can do that on the eBay site. You can do the meetup on meetup.com, but you can also then put it on eBay site, and then anybody that's in your area that's looking for somebody will come in. I'm a member of 3 of them. I've been to like 2 meetups. I want to go to more. It definitely is nice to hang out with. The thing about this is, your significant other or everybody else that you know, and you try to talk to them about selling stuff online, they glaze over after 80 seconds, right? And you're all excited. You're like, oh, I bought this for $25 and I sold it for $28. And they're like, but it's still some piece of crap. What are you talking about? They don't really care. But it's nice to hang out with people that really, if you get into your stuff and you start talking about it, that they're like, hey, man, that's cool. Because that's what you want to hear. You don't want to hear anything else. So
that's just a way to, until you start going to the official go away meetup. But like I said, we've been talking about this. We haven't solidified it, but we're definitely I'm going to come, and Jefferson's going to come, obviously, and I'm going to come. We'll come up to North Carolina, and
we're going to figure out when that sale is, and we'll do a house, and we'll invite a bunch of people, and whoever shows up, and if you don't, it'll just be you and me and Mike, and we'll have a great time.
Sweet. I've got one last thing I need to ask Archie, and guys, I'm going to have to go be thinking about getting off here because, I got a daughter. I got to put her to bed or whatever, and I always told her ever since she's a little girl, and she's my little girl, and no matter how old she gets, I'm always going to tell her goodnight. But is there still the chocolate place besides Caesar Palace that has the Reese cups that are like that freaking big?
Now, I think it's at New York, and I think it's called it's called Hershey's. But yeah, like literally, it's probably the size of, I don't know, like a refrigerator. I don't know. I looked at a refrigerator. The thing is huge, though. It's an actual Reese's cup, right?
Yeah. When I was 19, I sat there and ate one whole one in 20 minutes.
No, they have one that they actually sculpted to be like literally. It's probably 4 feet by 4 feet in circumference, but it's huge. I thought that's what you're talking about. But remember one thing.
No, I'm talking about the actual Reese cup. It's one you can eat. It's that big.
Oh, I'm sure they still have it. Yeah.
And man, as I loved Reese cups. And my aunt, she used to live there. She worked for Harris in the accounting department. She took me there, and she got me that, and I sat there and ate it, and then I was so sick. Gosh, I was so sick after crying. But anyway.
All right. Hey, guys, thank you guys for hanging out and coming, and it was great to meet you, Archie, in person.
You too. Thank you.
As close to in person as you can get most of the time. Mike, I will see you next week, or this week, actually, in a couple days.
Thank you, guys.
Actually, when this comes out, it'll be Friday. I'll be hanging out with you. Thank you guys so much. And everybody listening, thank you for watching another episode of Pocket Change. And hopefully you get as much enjoyment out of this as we did.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
Thanks for having us, guys. Thank you.